All right, hey everybody. Let's do this. My bad, my voice is still a little messed up, but bear with me. The idea for this video, it's gonna be really short, like less than 5 minutes. The idea is how do you graph a circle into your calculator, okay? And like if you were to go to Desmos.com and plug this in, it's one thing, but how do you actually plug in these functions into your calculator so you can see what's going on? It's a very, very helpful tool. So the idea is if you want to graph anything into your calculator, you must have y solo. You must get a y by itself. So let's look at the first one over here. How do we get, okay. How do we get this 5x plus 6y equals 12? You want to get this y by itself. So what do you do to do that? Here, the first move would be to subtract 5x, subtract 5x, right? Now you have 6y equals negative 5x plus 12. And if you're saying, oh, mister, why don't you do 12 minus 5x like this? The idea is you want it in y equals mx plus b form. So 12 minus 5x, right? You see here, it's like 12 minus 5x. 12 minus 5x is the same as negative 5x plus 12. But the idea is you want it in this form, okay? So what's the next move you want to do? You want to divide both sides by 6, divide both sides by 6. So then here, we've talked about this before, but y is equal to negative 5x over 6 plus, what is 12 over 6? This is 2, okay? And you can't really divide 5 over 6. And here, this is getting y by itself. So you could actually plug, like before, you cannot plug this into your calculator. It doesn't allow you. You can plug this into your calculator. And this equation and this equation are equal to each other. So let's just take a look and see what it looks like if we were to plug it in. So if you remember here, you go to the y1 equals, and okay, so let me clear it. And then how do you actually plug in a fraction, right? Here, remember, it's, now just watch this little trick. Alpha, y equals, and you see some n over d, and you hit enter. And then bam, you get a fraction. So let's write negative 5x over 6, move it to the right, plus 2, okay? And then you hit graph, and then bam, this is your line, okay? Now let's look at the other equation. X squared plus y squared equals 1. How can we take this equation, and remember this is a circle. And what do you know about this circle? What is the center? What is the radius? Okay? Take a second and try and remember that. What's the center? What's the radius? You know your center is 0, 0, and your radius is 1. Okay? But how do you actually take this, x squared plus y squared equals 1, and then how do you put it into the calculator? Well, first, the same thing holds, right? We want to get y by itself. So how do you actually get y by itself over here? The idea is first, subtract x squared, okay? So now you have y squared equals 1 minus x squared. And then the next move from here is, how do you get y by itself? Try and think, what's the move we did? We took square root. And now you have here, you have y is equal to, now this is the thing, it's not just 1 minus x squared. It's going to be positive and negative 1 minus x squared. You have to take the positive and negative into account. So the idea is, you see how here we have, this is the equation of the line. Now what we're going to do is we're going to plug in two equations, okay? The first equation we're going to plug in from here, we're going to say y is equal to square root of 1 minus x squared. So let's see what happens when we just plug this in, okay? So if I take, let's, just in case if you forgot how to use your calculator from here, it is second square root 1 minus x squared, okay? And then let's see what happens if we just graph this. Let's take a look and hit graph, and notice that you only get semicircle. you only get this semicircle over here. And actually, let me change the window because the window isn't as good. Try and make this window. Make it negative 5, 5, and here negative 5, 5, and let's hit graph. Okay, notice that this is the line, and notice here we only have half of the circle because here what you graphed was the positive version of this solution. Now to get the bottom half, what are we going to do? We're going to say y is equal to negative 1 minus x squared. Okay? And then we just plug this into the calculator. So we have y equals, we can go to y sub 3 over here. And just in case if you didn't see it before, here it'll be negative second x squared to get the radical x, 1 minus x squared. And then let's see what happens. And notice it gives us the other part of the circle. And yeah, and look how helpful this is, because here it's saying solve the systems of equation above, solve it. But the thing is there a solution? And there's no solution because there is no intersection point. Okay? There's no intersection point here. So there's no solution, even if you tried to solve this. Okay? What I want you to do is try and, the same thing that we did here, what I want you to do is try and graph this, see what happens, and then if you see there's an intersection point, solve for it algebraically. Okay? I hope this video helped.